What's going on, guys? CrustyKs here from GoldBoys.com, coming to you with the MLB slate preview for Tuesday. Forgot to record Monday, so we're making up for it. We're going to do some Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a Friday. We have an absolutely massive slate, though, so let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. So the first one here, Milwaukee taking on Cleveland. Quinn Priester versus Logan Allen. I like the Brewers here, plus money. I think there's a little bit of value there. You get two teams just offensively who've been super inconsistent. But for me here, it's really just more of a fade of Logan Allen. Quinn Priester, I'm not super high on him, but his stuff's look better. The metrics like him a bit better, and I tend to like him a bit more than I like Logan Allen. So this total sitting at 9. I do think we probably see some offense here, but it was tough for me to trust that just with the inconsistencies on both sides of this game with the two lineups. So for me here, like I said, I like the value on the Brewers at plus money. I do think they get this one done. I do think that majority of the runs come from the Brewers side here. Moving on to our next one, though, the Twins take on the Orioles. Simeon Woods Richardson versus Cade Povich. So I am pretty much an anti-SWR guy whenever I get the chance. This Orioles team has not been good by any means. So seeing them open at a -130 favorite is a bit telling to me, in my opinion, just because they're a team that I think a lot of people are out on. Even the books seem to be starting to adjust for the most part. So when I saw this price open up as big a fave as it is a bit eye-opening, and I kind of want to lean into that here. SWR is a guy who I think this Orioles team can get to. They seem to kind of start to figure things out against the Angels. Still weren't great, we're just hitting with runners in scoring position. But that's one of those things where, like, guys are getting on base. Eventually they're going to start converting those opportunities, and this feels like a spot where they could do that. So I like the Orioles here on the money line, -130. I'd play this probably like -140 comfortably before I'd probably debate like putting it in a money line parlay. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty big on Povich. I like his stuff this season. I think he's definitely improved from last season, and I think he can kind of handle business here against Minnesota. So give me the Orioles on the money line. Moving on to our next one here, the Red Sox taking on Detroit Tigers. Brian Bayo versus, I believe it's going to be like a Kaiser Montero, like it should be like a pretty much a full start for him. He'll be on basically normal rest at this point. But I see FanDuel listing Holton, which is a reliever for the Tigers, but I believe it's Kaiser Montero. So anyway, I like Boston here. I'm a Brian Bayo truther. Probably like him a little bit too much. This is a guy who I think can pitch really well against this Tigers lineup. He's a guy who has pitched relatively well since coming back from injury. Last start, definitely not one of his most efficient performances, but still wasn't terrible. Obviously, Tigers red hot right now. Definitely not a team that a lot of people want to fade. I do know that they were a very popular fade in this. I guess I would say today while I'm recording this, and they got absolutely steamrolled by the Tigers. So I think a lot of people are just going to be out on them at this point, and this is when we kind of jump back in and we get back on the Red Sox wagon. They opened up as a favorite here again, which I think is insane, just because of how they look today, and I mean how good this Tigers team is. So let's lean into that. I like the Red Sox here on the money line. I think they win this game. The next one here, the White Sox taking on the Reds. Andrew Abbott versus Jonathan Cannon. So this is a pretty interesting one here. The White Sox, I mean, not a great team by any means, but sneakily having some really good at-bats, seeing a lot more pitches per plate appearance, walking at a pretty decent clip. Definitely like two things that are completely opposite of what we saw from them a season ago. So, I mean, I like the Reds. I mean, like I said, -196, it's not a ton of value to me. But I think in a money line parlay, I'm pretty confident they get this one done. Cannon has been a bit of a luck box all season. He's a guy who struggled against lefties throughout most of his career. Obviously, this Reds team doesn't have a ton of lefties, but they have some lefty pop for sure with like Ellie, Fraley, guys like that. So I like the Reds to score some runs here. I think they win, like I said, on the money line. Be a great parlay piece in my opinion. I think Cannon's luck kind of runs out here. Great American Ballpark, obviously a very hitter-friendly park, and I think some of those balls that Cannon has, given up, whether it be at home or just in some other games that have stayed in the yard, they leave here. So I think this is a tough spot for him, tough lineup to go against, and a tough ballpark to pitch at. So yeah, give me the Reds on the money line as, like I said, a parlay piece. I think they win this game for sure. Moving on here, the Cardinals taking on the Phillies. Sonny Gray versus Jesus Luzardo. So this is a pretty interesting one here. I mean, I'm a big Sonny Gray guy for sure. I'm a big Luzardo guy as well. We do see the Cardinals did just see Christopher Sanchez, so they're going to see back-to-back lefties here. Obviously, a bit of a contrast in styles here. With Luzardo, I'd say, is more of a power pitcher. I do like the Phillies in this spot. minus 156 on the money line. Not a money line I would play straight. It'd have to be a spot that I would pair with something. But I do like him here. I also like the under. I think Sonny Gray pitches relatively well. His velo's been down on the fastball, but his breaking stuff has looked really good. So, I mean, I trust both these bullpens, these late inning guys for both these bullpens. So yeah, I like the under. I think this thing stays pretty close throughout. I do think the Phillies do get it done. Like I said, if you want to parlay it with somebody else, I would sign off on that. But I think the best play here is probably the under. It's at 7.5 right now. Our next one here, the Toronto Blue Jays taking on Tampa Bay Rays. Jose Barrios, and as of right now, actually, I couldn't find a Tampa Bay starter anywhere. So we're gonna take this as a TBD. I'll lean the Jays just because I'm a big Barrios guy. I'm very curious to see who the Rays put out there. But this Jays team's been tough to back. If you've watched them, their offense has been pretty inconsistent. They looked a bit better against Seattle in this last series, so I'm really just hoping they build on that. Like I said, kind of lean into Barrios, just pitching well at home like he has done throughout his career. So I like the Jays here on the money line. Rays really can't throw anybody out there who I'd be not willing to bet against. So Blue Jays on the money line. Our next one here, the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the New York Mets. Mitch Keller versus Kota Senga. It's a pretty interesting matchup here because the Pirates as a team really aren't chasing a ton, but when they do chase, they don't make contact. So it's one of those things where if Senga can get him into 2 strike counts, can they lay off the forkball? Probably not. I think Senga obviously pitches relatively well. He has been pretty inefficient over his last 2 or 3 starts. Just not, and his command in his last start was horrendous. I don't know if anybody watched that against Diamondbacks, but I mean, that guy was starting counts. It felt like every guy was starting with 2 balls automatically. It was just not a good showing from him. So for me here, there's really 0 value on the Mets at minus 240, but I do like them to win this game. I would opt for the Mets on the run line at the minus 105 for the minus 1.5. This is a spot where Keller, very fastball reliant, pitches, gets a lot of contact, doesn't miss a lot of bats. I think this Mets team's hot right now. So I like them to kind of get it going. Their offense is a bit stagnant today. They did get it done, but definitely wasn't as easy as I expected it to be. I think this one's a little bit easier. So give me Senga to have a masterclass. Like I said, I think he mows through this Pittsburgh lineup. And yeah, I like the Mets on the run line here, minus 1.5. The next one here, Washington Nationals taking on the Braves. Michael Soroka versus Spencer Schwellenbach. So, Soroka looked really good in his last start. Looked outstanding, truthfully. Curious to see how he looks here against the Braves. The Braves have been a team that's been a bit inconsistent offensively. If you've watched them, they've been incredibly frustrating to bet on. I think I took them against the Pirates over the weekend, and they got the Sale game. I believe Sale gave up 3 runs, and the Braves could not do anything. I think they scored late, actually, and tried to make it interesting, but just never really had a pulse, in my opinion. So, obviously, Schwellenbach, he's a guy I love to back. Definitely probably my favorite pitcher on the staff outside of Strider, who's obviously hurt right now. But, yeah, tough game for me. Like I said, minus 240 on the money line for the Braves. And I kind of want to get a little weird with the Nationals. I'm not going to lie to you. I like their offense. They've been hitting righties really well, have a ton of lefties who crush the ball. So I like the Nationals plus the 1.5. It's even money right now as I'm recording this. I probably stay there. Probably will stay there. Might even get a little bit better, truthfully, because I imagine the Braves are going to be hammered throughout the day. It's just one of those teams that people love to bet on. A lot of people think the Nationals aren't any good. So yeah, I like the Nationals plus the 1.5. Obviously a bit scary because their bullpen is junk. So I guess if you wanted to isolate it to just Soroka, maybe take the first 5 plus a half. But I do think the Nationals keep this one close, maybe even steal this one here. Our next one here, the Miami Marlins taking on the Cubs. Ben Brown versus, looks like Belozo. So, Belozo's coming off a game against the Dodgers where he was just, Cy Young, to be completely honest. He was lights out, didn't give up anything. I actually think he pitched a shutout while he was in the game, and the Dodgers scored all the runs once the bullpen came in. So interesting spot here. I'm not a big Ben Brown guy, but I'm also not a total fool in the sense that I'm going to blindly back the Marlins at any point this season. So for me here, I lean the over. I like the over 8. Obviously at Wrigley, if the wind's blowing out, the ball's going to carry. I'm not sure what the weather's looking like. I haven't had a chance to look, but I do think both these pitchers give up a lot of contact, give up a lot of runs. So yeah, give me the over here. Our next one, the Texas Rangers taking on the Colorado Rockies. Jack Leiter versus Kyle Freeland. Freeland's been junk, to put it lightly. probably like one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball. If you've been paying attention, he has been absolutely horrendous. And I don't really see that changing here. I mean, again, I'm not really willing to go to bat for Jack Leiter. This guy stinks. So I'm going to isolate this thing here. I like the Texas Rangers team total over. It's sitting at 4.5 right now. I'm more than okay with that number. I think they get to Freeland. Freeland has come out and talked about how bad he's been and publicly said that he needs to be better, yada, yada. But the advanced metrics don't love him, and I have a hard time believing that's going to change, start to start here, especially when he's really struggled all season. So I like Texas Rangers team total over. I think they get their runs. They probably win this game, but like I said, I'm not willing to lay a minus 205 even in a parlay with Jack Leiter. So give me the Rangers team total over. Our next one, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Houston Astros. Chris Bubich versus Framber Valdez. I like the Royals here. Plus 118 on the money line, they're a dog. Obviously, Framber at home gets a ton of respect. I'm just not really sold on this Astros team, truthfully. Their lineup to me is just very, very mediocre right now. Obviously, they have the usual guys, but just not a team that I'm super high on. And Framber's not a guy that I think is worth a minus 140 this season. In years past when he was better, absolutely. In this season with his current form, not for me. So I like the value here. Like I said, plus 118 on the money line for the Royals. I think that's a great price. I think they do win this game. I think Framber struggles. Like I said, I'm not a big Framber guy. This year he hasn't looked very good, and I want to lean into that a little bit and fade him here at home. So give me the Royals on the money line. Our next one here, the Yankees taking on the Mariners. Max Fried versus Brian Wu. I gotta take the Yankees. I know they're on the road. Minus 134. Max Fried's been absolutely nails to this team, and I don't see that changing here. Seattle obviously has been really good, but at home the offense has definitely struggled a little bit more. So for me here, I think, like I said, I think Wu probably pitches relatively well too. But for me, it's just a matter of Max Fried has been outstanding. He's been absolutely lights out, and I want to lean into that. So Yankees on the money line here, minus 134, great price. Maybe even a little bit short to some people, but I'm not gonna get scared of that. Give me Max Fried. Our next one here, the Angels taking on the Padres. Jose Soriano versus Dylan Cease. I like the Padres, obviously. Probably would go like a Dylan Cease player performance double route. Like 6Ks in the money line should be close to even money. I just think that this Angels team right now, there's not a good club. I think they're extremely fadeable. But like I said, for me here, excuse me, even if Soriano pitches relatively well, this Angels bullpen is just terrible. So, like I said, I like Dylan Cease. I like them to get the win here. Even if it comes off the bullpen, that's more than fine with me. But I wouldn't be surprised if Soriano gives up a run or two. Heavy sinker ball usage. This is a team that sees a sinker pretty well. Give me the Padres here, like I said, player performance double. Our next one, the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Giants. Brandon Pfaadt versus Robbie Ray. I like Diamondbacks. I'm on Diamondbacks today currently as I'm recording this. And as much as I don't want to go back to them 2 days, another day, I think that's the right side. Robbie Ray, in my opinion, has been a bit of a luck box his last couple games, last couple starts. And I think a lot of people are starting to buy back into the fact that he's maybe back, quote unquote. But I just don't buy it. The Diamondbacks haven't hit lefties that well this season, but they are built to mash lefties. And for me, they feel like a team that's kind of starting to hit their stride here a bit. Like I said, kind of starting to get healthy. Obviously, Catel's back, starting to get some bullpen pieces back. So I like to lean into that. Like I said, I really like this Diamondback squad. So I will take the Diamondbacks here on the money line at minus 116. The last one on the slate, the Athletics taking on the Dodgers. I believe it's Jeffrey Springs for the Athletics. FanDuel is showing it to be determined, but I want to say I saw Jeffrey Springs on RotoWire, so we'll go with that for now. And then taking on Landon Knack, I just like the over. I like runs here. This is two teams that can score in bunches, and Landon Knack's a guy who he's coming off a masterclass of his own against the Marlins. I think he struggles. And then obviously Jeffrey Springs overall just has not been good. Not missing a lot of bats. And this matchup, in my opinion, profiles is just a brutal spot for him. So I like the over 9. It's already a bit of a high total, in my opinion. I think it's high for a reason. So I think this thing soars here. That does include the slate, though. Like I said, it was absolutely massive. I think it's like 15 games. Before I hop off here, though, my 3 best bets, we will go with the over 9 in that Athletics Dodgers game that we just talked about. Absolutely love that. The Dylan Cease 6Ks and the money line player performance double. Absolutely love that as well. And my third and final play, my third and final best bet, I guess, for this slate will be the Red Sox on the money line. So as always, you can get all my official plays at GoldBoys.com. If you have a gambling problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. Thank you guys.